Hello there, GW. That is a great hat you have on. I'm not much of a cowboy myself, but it definitely seems to fit your taste.
Thanks, Bill. This hat pretty much defines who I am, you know. It is one of my traits, like my identity as a person. At least I can control the fact that I enjoy reading about the Wild West and watching Walker Texas Ranger on my free time. People only see me as a white Republican who graduated from Yale and Harvard. I guess you could say that those parts of my identity have to do with my associations and political positions.
Wow, GW. Yale and Harvard? That is unbelievable. How the heck did you pass? Especially since you enjoy reading such interesting and eccentric literature.
Funny you brought that up. I always thought I was a good reader, but math and science always stumped me. All of that nuclear stuff, it is like another language to me. I brought a lot of useful information to my education, like how to catch a 7-pound bass. However, I guess my teachers did the best they could to expand my knowledge. I think they did a pretty good job, if I had to say so myself.
Well, I bet you did not always think you were going to be a future president. Your teachers had to have played a role in shaping your academic identity. You may have thought that you would be a cowboy for the rest of your life, but obviously that identity shifted based on your education. I think that teachers can either play a positive role in building students' academic identity, or a negative role in this process. Do you think that your teachers played a role in molding your academic identity?
Hell yeah. Do you think I was able to get to where I am today on my own? My teachers encouraged me to explore history and politics. To be honest, if it was not for their empowering words about how I was a hard worker, I would have failed out.
I see a huge difference between what your personal interests are, and your academic identity. It must be hard for students when what they actually enjoy reading is usually not included in academic reading. Their personal identity involves choice and who they are as a person, while academically, they have obligatory reading. That is tough, but I have faith that our educators will nurture and empower all different identities. GW, you are one interesting dude. Hectares ha 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 ha. I know some more about you now, GW, and while I may not have been the greatest president, I had the most fun 8 years in office. If only I could have combined all that fun with learning. If I'd taken as much time studying as Monica spent under my desk, well, I would have been able to address a plethora of political issues. Not to mention all the mumbo-jumbo I had to read to Hillary in order for her to forgive me for what I may or may not have done with Miss Lewinsky. I read countless sonnets and lines by Willie Shakespeare to Hillary after the scandal with Monica, and do you think I understood one of them? Oh, that Willie Shakespeare fella. It's crazy to think that I could try to woo Hillary with Romeo's famous balcony speech to Juliet and not understand one line. What do you think about that, G.W.?
Bill, you dirty rascal. That very problem is one that we are having in the education system today. Teachers who teach specific topics don't want to deal with the basics or even intermediate teaching of skills that students need to decipher different kinds of text. Even teachers of English language arts, those who teach Shakespeare, don't want to take the time to model the process, work together with students, and eventually get students to their own independence. It makes me sick.
Good point, GW. Looking back on it, it sure would have been helpful if I had someone shown me how to read Shakespeare and then help figure it out on my own, just like I was supposed to be showing Miss Lewinsky how the things work in the White House. But enough of that, back to effective ways of understanding Shakespeare. If I had come to you and asked how I could understand this famous Shakespeare fella, where would you start?
I would start by doing this, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks. It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she.
Wow, G.W. Not bad for a cowboy. So by reciting the sonnet you are modeling the process of reading this type of work, right?
Exactly, Billy boy, this is the famous balcony scene from Romeo and Juliet, and the next step would be for you to take it line by line with me here to answer any questions you might have. By giving room to explore the lines on your own while still knowing that I can help you, you are reaching the highest point of understanding possible before you can move on to reading independently. I'm here to be your Romeo and Juliet lifeline. Eventually you will get it on your own. This is what teachers must do to help students in all the different subjects, not just English.
I couldn't agree more, George. Students ought to benefit from literacy development in specific content areas, the way I just did from your lesson on Bill Shakespeare. I thought I would be content reading Playboy for the rest of my life, but now I can experiment with more Shakespeare.
You sure can, Willie. And Playboy will always be there for you. It is a part of your reader profile.
Reader profile? What's my reader profile?
Well, it is a reflection of the types of literature you are comfortable reading, and those that you struggle with and avoid.
Oh, I see. Well, I certainly would call reading Playboy comfortable, even pleasurable.
I concur. So, since you are highly confident reading the articles in Playboy, I guess that you are more capable of comprehending complex texts in the humanities, or, perhaps, biological science.
That is right, GW. It is the technical discipline that always gave me trouble. Like, technically. I didn't inhale. It makes sense to me, but the public didn't buy it.
Don't sweat the small stuff, Willie. You know, small stuff like general public disappointment and disapproval of your actions. Next time, you go ahead and inhale with the peace of mind that today's youth will receive more discipline-specific literacy training, so they'll be better prepared to comprehend complex college-level texts, which vary in form and language, and which prompt students to designate some academic disciplines as troublesome on their disciplinary reader profiles.
You know what, GW? I think I will.